Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and I've had quite a lot of questions on the energy reports that we produce. So I thought I'd just do another explainer of how they work. This is this morning's report that's out. I write this report just when the market opens in the morning at 8:05, and it takes me about 10 minutes. I produce the report in a few minutes, and it takes me about 10 minutes to write the commentary, and it's normally out to clients, certainly by 8:30, but certainly we aim to get it out to clients as quickly as possible to help them in their trading day. And you can see here we use the traffic light system. Red is bearish, orange is neutral, and green is bullish. And bold highlights that there's a change the previous day. And it uses the price targets. You can register for the reports here. And there's some explainer slides at the end of how they work. And how to read these reports, there's explainer videos there. And of course, you can watch Charts Today. And if you want to really understand the price targets, there's a longer explainer video here. So you can click on any of these products and it will take you straight to the charts. But the key thing to remember is that I write these reports at 8:05 and the market is never static. I mean, if I could sit there and know what was going to happen in the next few minutes, of course, but I've just got the targets. And the idea is that it just sets you up for the day, what to look for. But of course, you can actually just do this in Updata yourself. And I'm going to run the report. You could do this on any instruments you want. And this is how the report gets produced. And so here's my chart. No big changes there, little uptick candle. Of course, the 60-minute charts are not going to change that much. But the 1-minute charts, we are going to see quite dramatic change. We've got a new little upside target there because the price behavior has actually progressed this morning. We do have these downside targets. That was the thrust move yesterday. The move lower activated the thrust and activated the target. That's why it's in bold. And we got another one. So we do have these downside targets hanging over us. And we said in the commentary, a move below 78.50, that would be bad for the price. So that's really how you look at this. So the WTI chart will not have changed that much because it's a 60-minute chart. We go next. And you just see it puts all the same trends and targets on and progress. So when I produce this report on Monday, it will basically update the charts with all the new targets. The key thing is, if you want these targets growing in real time, you need the system. The reports are static point in time, and then you'll see each day how the targets are generated. So there's WTI, and we give our stance. So here's US NatGas. And if we look at the report this morning on US NatGas, we just keep going in the report. We see here that that was WTI crude, waiting for that orange target to be activated. It hasn't happened until we get a new low. A bit of a mixed picture, but we were a little bit bearish with these downside targets on the 1-minute chart. Now you might say, well, that wasn't very accurate, was it? Because US NatGas is up. But of course, the key thing is you will have got the new targets coming in on the 1-minute chart. And we see here, there was a little mini target. No big thrusts this morning, so we're not getting new targets. These were yesterday's targets, all downside targets. They rely on the thrust. So it's quite interesting that we're not seeing the thrust there on the target. So then we can move to emissions. A really interesting picture going on in emissions where we've got an upside target and a downside target not activated. We are crossing the cloud, but when you make these trend changes, you get a lot of uncertainty and a lot of volatility. Is this just a continuation pattern and will we go lower, or are we going to break and reverse off these lows? We need this higher high above 66.50. That's what we've written in the report. And so this chart will not have changed dramatically unless we've had a dramatic change in price. So there's the emissions chart there. And if we look at the 1-minute chart, we can see in the report, we did have these downside targets. These were yesterday's downside targets, given in the morning, met in the afternoon. And so you can see these each day in the report, how the targets were doing. This was this morning, but we were neutral. No change on yesterday. We're neutral because we've got just a bit of a mixed picture going on. And if we go back to the chart, we've since had upside targets on emissions, so looking better now. And that's the key thing, is they write the report in the morning based on what we can see, but it's what happens thereon. And these are real-time targets coming in on emissions, so it's looking much, much better this morning, but we were neutral because we couldn't really call it. And if we then go to gas, and remember, this is how the report is being produced. You could do this on any instruments you want, produce your own reports. And we see here, again, a bit of a mixed picture there. And if we go to the 1 minute chart, let's see what we said in the report. So here's the 60-minute chart out this morning at 8:05, and then the 1 minute chart. Notice how targets given yesterday were all met. This is the first, so really quite interesting. Downside target given towards the end of the day around 3 o'clock. That's where we finished the day. So that target, you could have made that trade and just got out at the end of the day. Then a little upside target. So what's happened in the last couple of hours? How has the picture changed? And that's where you need the real-time picture. No new targets because we haven't had a sufficient thrust. This is a 0.05% unit size, 2 to 1. So every 2 minutes we should go up 1 unit. But what we're seeing here is no new targets. We are a bit stuck. And we were neutral in our call on TTF this morning because of that. And NBP, similarly, we called it neutral. So that's quite interesting. We go to the next chart there on NBP, and we will see the 1 minute targets. And that's quite key here. We see that that 1 minute targets, we have a little bit of a fight going on. Again, notice how yesterday's targets were given and met, and we've got some upside targets and some downside targets. The picture isn't clear. And if we go back to NBP 1 minute chart, all we had this morning was these downside targets, but we called it neutral because the targets were nearly met. And the picture was just not clear on that 60-minute chart. Now, German Power was a little bit more clear. We had this new target given a few days ago to 68.59. A lot of people just go, oh my God, that's so scary. And these downside targets have been met. If you look on the daily chart, we see these targets being met all the time. We went bearish on German Power. We had this target given yesterday, and that's quite key there. We had that target given on the first. Target was given yesterday. We actually moved quite a lot towards that target halfway through the day. We're waiting for this upside target to move. So Nordic Power, we actually were a bit bullish here because we've crossed the cloud on the 60-minute, and we can see here on the 1 minute we had a little bit more in the can, so a little bit more to play for. And so we basically looking at the report, and this is where I would then generate the report. We've since had another upside target on Nordic Power this morning, so that's good news. We're up 2.3%, so those targets have been followed and met, and that's how I then generate the report, and it will then produce the PowerPoint. So I can actually just click generate the report, and it will go away. And that's how I generate the report. Now, you could do this yourself. If you've got Updata, you can have the same report. You can run it yourself every morning. But the key thing is we put it out to clients. And so we were bullish on Nordic Power. Hard to believe when German Power didn't look so good, but that was the picture there on Nordic Power. So the key thing there is these are how the targets are explained, but that's how the reports work. But of course, the key thing is actually using the reports in Updata yourself and then watching the targets throughout the day. So really, it's a case of watching these pictures unfold. And the 1 minute charts of your trading, emissions, gas, power, crude oil, those 1 minute targets are going to be really critical throughout your trading day. Now, it's just going to produce the report, and it takes all those images and puts them in the PowerPoint, and that's how I do the report every morning. So I just wanted to show you the process, and most of all, how you understand the report and how it interrelates to using your Updata system in the day. If you want the targets in real time and you want to see them coming, and then I go through and I update the report. And you'll see now it's got the latest targets on. So that's what I do on Monday morning. Now, on Monday, I'm producing the weekly report, which looks at the week ahead. These reports are for what's going to happen today. And then if you want to know what's going to happen for the week ahead, then you need to look at the weekly report. We will look at daily and 60-minute charts, a different time horizon, and that's how it works. But if you want the reports, just let me know. I'm more than happy to sign you up.